Liverpool offering up the following statement on Joe Gomez's health Friday. Joe Gomez has today undergone successful surgery to repair a tendon in his left knee. The issue was isolated to Gomez's tendon with no damage to any other associated knee ligaments. No timescales being placed upon his return, though the issue is likely to rule him out for a significant part of the 2020-2021 season. For more, we welcome back Ian, Don, and Stevie. Stevie, over the last couple of days, you've used words like catastrophic and disastrous. This is some good news. Does it change at all how you feel about the Gomez injury and the impact on Liverpool?
Well, personally for him, yes. You know, had it been an ACL, then, I mean, that really would have been, I mean, it would have been awful for him. But as I said, listen, don't kid yourself. You know what? We're comparing the tendon injury to an ACL, and yes, it's not as severe, but a tendon injury in your knee is not good. Let me assure you of that. So yes, it's better than the ACL, but it's still not good news. And I still haven't come up with anything. I know you're going to ask me, what did he do? I don't know. I actually don't know. You know, when you everybody, and we were talking about it the other day. Do you put one of the central midfielders in the back? And honestly, unless you work with players and you can figure them out and you really know them inside out, you can only then decide whether they can do that job. And from what I know of what Liverpool have in the middle of the park, I don't think any of them are capable of doing it. And that's certainly not a positive answer from me, because I'm just telling you, and I'm just being honest, I don't know what they're going to do. Unless you're going to throw two rookies in, I don't know what else you're going to do.
Don, do you agree with Stevie that when you look at this Liverpool roster as it's currently constructed, the answer is just they aren't there and they're not coming until at least January?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as that. I mean, what you've got to take into consideration, Sebi, is the opposition and the player that, you know, if it is going to be Nat Phillips or Reece Williams who plays in that position, and the opposition that they're playing against, and one of the fastest strikers in the Premier League, and Jamie Vardy. So the decision for Jurgen, it must be an absolute nightmare when he's sitting trying to pick a side. Does he go for a young centre-half to play alongside Matip? Or does he go for Jordan Henderson to try and play in that position, who's experienced? He knows how Jamie Vardy likes to operate. He comes short and he spins in behind. Liverpool could come up with a game plan where they play a little bit deeper and don't allow any runs for Jamie Vardy to try and get in behind. So sit on, close to their 18-yard box and try and dominate the ball a little bit more. But still, this is going to be a hard ask for whichever player that plays alongside Joe Matip. This is going to be hard because, make no mistakes, when Leicester pick their side and Jamie Vardy, I would guarantee, will start in Brendan Rodgers' 11, he's going to try and pick on what he thinks the weakest part of Liverpool's defence is. And like Stevie, we don't know which personnel is going to be playing in that role.
Ian, the Gomez injury, although it may not be as long as initially feared, do you think it's something Liverpool can overcome in the short term specifically?
I think they're going to have to make do and mend, and I think it can be a big impact on the outcome of this season. No two ways about it. But can they improvise? Well, they'll be hoping Fabinho gets fit again as soon as possible, and they're hoping that Matip, who hasn't got a great injury record, can stay fit for a while this time. Then they can go with those two. But say Fabinho is out for longer than we think he might be out for, and the Matip picks up another injury, then you've got Nat Phillips, who's only played one Premier League game ever. He played well, but it was only one game. And Reece Williams, who's promising, but a rookie. So does maybe Henderson go back there? Maybe even Milner. I mean, until January, they're just going to have to paper over the cracks and try to get through. But remember all the attacking talent they have at the other end of the pitch. I think, they've been winning games without Van Dijk, and I think they will probably still win most matches, even with this defensive crisis.
Stevie?
Do you know, Seb, as much as we're talking about how they fill the personnel, it's going to be hugely important how the attitude of Klopp and the rest of the team and the squad is about this situation. You know, when Liverpool started back again after the restart and we're losing goals, we were all sitting going, oh my goodness, what's going on here? And it was all panic and how can this happen? And, if they can accept that they're going to have a weakness, and if they can accept that it's not going to be perfect and we might lose some goals, but if they go about things with the right attitude and don't start making it an excuse or trying to blame somebody else for maybe a loss here or there, then that'll be just as important as actually the name of the jersey on the back. Because it really will be for this Liverpool side between now and the transfer window, because 100% they have to go and get somebody, no question. I don't even think that's a question, to be honest. So absolutely, a lot of it will be down to the attitude and how they accept that they're going to have this weakness.
Don, if it really does, like Stevie says, just come down to attitude, then who else would you bet on besides this Liverpool crew based on what they did last season and Jurgen Klopps, specifically the manager?
Yeah, he'll come up with a game plan, and he might give, as the boy said, he might give one of the rookie centre-halves a chance to try and stake a claim, because it might just dent their confidence if they see a James Milner or a Jordan Henderson go and play in their position. So he might give Nat Phillips a start, who's very, very good in the air. I think Reece Williams is a little bit quicker over the ground, so he might play him, looking at the Jamie Vardy factor. But it's important that whoever plays, and I think Fabinho is going to be fit, but not for this weekend, I think the week after. I think whoever's going to fill this void in the short term just tries to get Liverpool through the next, few games, the next period, to try and get them to January. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Upamecano's buyout clause, I think at Leipzig's 40 million. So that's not a huge amount of money for such a young talent. Koulibaly's still at Napoli, who was valued at about 60. So I think what it does, it really pushes Liverpool into the transfer market to go and buy an A-list centre-half. And then when Joe Gomez is back and when Virgil van Dijk's back, they've still got that quality. And then the squad from there will only be stronger.
Upamecano always seems to get Stevie's vote. Ian, let's play some fantasy football. Who would you bring in January if you were Liverpool?
Well, I've seen Upamecano a fair bit now, and he's an athlete, and he's powerful, and he can bring the ball out of defence. But at the moment, I think he's still got a raw side to him, and we saw that when Leipzig shipped 5 goals against Tottenham in the second half. And there was another mistake from him in the Champions League. Can't remember who against the other night as well. So I don't know. He's a very good player, and he's going to get a lot better by the time he's, say, 26. But at the moment, I think he's still got a mistake in him. I think Koulibaly be the better bet. But everybody knows out there in Europe that Liverpool need a central defender. So the price is going to go through the roof.
Stevie, 40-50 million euros for your center back of the future. If it is Upamecano, doesn't sound bad, does it?
Go and get him. Listen, we're talking about people like Virgil van Dijk and Vincent Kompany, how brilliant they've been. Well, this guy's ahead of them in his development than they were. They weren't playing in the Champions League. And Upamecano, like every young player, makes mistakes. Listen, before the shutdown, he was absolutely magnificent. Magnificent. Yes, he's made some mistakes since the restart, but he's 21 years of age. Go and buy the guy. And I'll tell you what, you if it costs you more for Upamecano than Koulibaly, do it, because you're getting 10 years. You'll get Upamecano for 10 years from now. You go and get Koulibaly, you'll get a couple of years, maybe, or 3 at the most. So, to me, it's a no-brainer. Go get him.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.